What's that, Osho, The Art of Tea?
I haven't read that one yet, but there's like a small book in there, and then it comes with some teacups and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
It's supposed to like, use it to drink tea in meditation.
That's interesting. They got a lot of tea drinking rituals in West Africa.
Oh, okay.
I'm always kind of curious about the origins of some of that stuff.
I didn't know they had that. What type of ritual?
Man, they do. I mean, I think now it's become more of like a pleasure thing. But, there's a whole, first of all, there's a whole ritual on how you prepare the tea.
Yeah.
So it's usually, man, you're sitting around a fire. They cook it on the fire. And then they do three rounds of the tea. From strong to, but with one whole big pot, like a handful of tea.
Right.
A small little pot full of water. So the first one is super strong. You're like, it's just like it hits you.
Yeah.
And then you're chatting or whatever. Usually it's around some type of, conflict resolution. You sit around the tea.
Oh, okay.
And first round is a strong round, second is medium, and the weaker round is still kind of strong for me. I don't drink tea like that. And then they put a shitload of sugar in it. I don't know. It's like, I think that kills some of this bitterness.
Like the Ethiopians do like their tea and popcorn thing. They'll like you ever seen that? Like they'll set up like almost looks like a little mini shrine or something. The tea and they literally serve like popcorn with it. It's kind of random.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
I just learned that last year at the Ethiopian fest that they do over here at that church on Hollywood and Sheridan. Right there, like as you're getting off Lakeshore, that church. They do the Ethiopian fest there.
Oh, wow.
They pull the tea out. I think they're like burning incense, and then they got this popcorn, like maybe some type of like dried flowers, like set up around it, like on like the rug or something.
I never knew that.
They have so many tea houses in Hong Kong out there, and I meant to go into one and like people just come in there and hang out. You buy your tea, you buy your pots and cups there, but then people just come there to like drink too and not buy anything else but just to drink. There's like I know there's a whole set of rituals with that too, but I didn't do it. The whole time I was there, I didn't go into one.
So, if you don't mind me asking, these rituals, like, what were they around? Like, people's birthdays, just events? Like,
I don't know. I mean, I don't know as far as China or the Ethiopian one I seen.
Yeah, when I was in Mali, usually it was like modern day was social, but they were just kind of talking more back in the day. The elders would sit around drink tea and decide on things for the community. It was interesting because I was looking at the tea that they were drinking. It was made in China.
Okay.
that's how it was strong.
Alright, we'll continue on in Osho, first in the morning. We're on day 60, page 32. Everybody except a few totally deaf people think he is capable of hearing. Everybody except those few who are blind thinks he is capable of seeing. But this is not true. Jesus said again and again to his disciples, if you can hear, hear. If you can see, see. Clearly he is not always talking to the blind and to the deaf. He is talking to people like us. Buddha used to start his sermon by telling people how to listen. J. Krishnamurti emphasized that one should prepare oneself for the great art of listening, right listening. Mahavira had gone a step further than Jesus, Buddha, Krishnamurti. He says there are only two ways to reach the truth. One is to hear rightly, and the other is to strive rightly. The first is enough, then there is no need to strive for truth. If you are capable of hearing rightly, then there is no need to strive. The second is only for those who cannot hear. Then they have to strive, then they have to struggle. Right listening means listening with deep love and sympathy. One can listen in an antagonistic way, one can listen to priori conclusions, one can listen with all the prejudices, with all the conditionings of the mind. then it is not right listening. But love is capable of putting all aside. Love is capable of listening in silence, and then anything can trigger the process of enlightenment. It is not only a question of listening rightly to master, that is only one aspect. This sound of rain falling on the roof, if one can listen rightly, pure listening with no idea, with no desire to interpret, with no effort to understand, then that is enough. Then certainly you will find it is not rain falling on the roof, it is existence itself. Then the wind passing through the pine trees is existence passing through the pine trees, and the sound of running water. Then anything, it is not a question of what you listen to, the basic question is how to listen. And
Yeah, that really resonates with me. Thinking about seeing and hearing more on a spiritual level versus just because you have sight doesn't mean you can see. Just because you can hear doesn't mean you know how to listen. It's just like a deeper level of seeing and hearing. Also, different, at least for me, different level of appreciation for those gifts.
I like to add to what you just said, because I think we are thinking on the same level when you say seeing and hearing. Like, some people can say certain things without actually saying it. Like, somebody can be like, oh, I'm sorry. And they'll never formally say, like, I'm sorry, but they can do something in a way that it's like, man, I apologize, and you can see it. But not see it, but you can hear what they're trying to say without them verbally saying it. Like you said, on a spiritual level.
I think it's really important in your progression towards learning, especially in here, is really listening and hearing what's going on and everything that's said, and then you could be able to learn immediately without having something to be repeated. So it's like even today, you know, if you're not here today, then whatever we learn today, the person that's not here is not going to benefit from it. But say you are here, but you're just not listening, you're not hearing anything, then you might be here, but you're not really here, you're still not learning. Visual, martial arts teaches you through the visual too. Like, you know, we might be doing movements and you might, you know, look at the mirror to try to follow, and then you really have to see what's going on and follow step by step, just like the Phoenix form. You might be looking at the person next to you and trying to follow step by step. If you could visually learn and learn from hearing and listening, then you'll progress really quickly. There's a lot of people that practice the martial arts and they don't even speak the same language, so there might be a language barrier. So even for me, you know, when I first started practicing, you know, I trained with somebody who's Chinese and he's speaking Chinese, and I don't really understand it that well. But then you just follow his movements and what he's doing, and then you learn so much. So a lot of learning is from watching when it comes to martial arts. You guys, you know, you guys are both musicians. You guys listen, you know, you guys play music. Like, you could just, if you guys are really good, then you could just hear somebody's beat and you could just follow it. They didn't have to tell you, oh, do this, do that, do this. You just hear it and then you follow it and you learn. Some people have that skill to do that. And some people that I train in the martial arts, they're naturally good at following just by watching. They don't need to have you explain everything step by step. They just follow you. Basically, martial arts is like, it's like the perfect art to lead by example. Like, I shouldn't have to say anything. I just come in here, and then you guys really pay attention to what I'm doing, and then you will learn. That's the one thing I love about the martial arts. It's not really such a hypocrisy like some of the things out there, where everybody's telling you, do this, do that, do this, do it this way, but then they don't do it themselves. Martial artists is like, you have to live it. You have to embody it, and then through your expression, they just learn, and that's kind of how it gets passed on to like your children and things like that. They just follow you. They don't even know how to talk when they get out, when they're born. But you walk somewhere, they follow you. You jump, they jump. You know, like, you know, like what you do, they follow. You punch, they punch. You eat good food, they eat good food. You eat junk food, they eat junk food. They just following everything you do. And that's kind of what martial arts is like. It's like you lead by example, and then the students follow the example. So, like say you come here on time. Like even Chris came like 10 minutes early.
I came for the shoes today. I came for the shoes today. Shoes! That dude don't even hear that. Neither do you.
Like that's just by example, just like, whoa, you know, new student, he's here first. You know what I mean? Like, and the other Chris, he lives the farthest away and he's here first. So, like stuff like that, you know, like Brandon's doing the bench press, he don't gotta say nothing, he just does it, and then other people that see that, they're like, damn, you know, like, this guy's pretty strong, you know. When you're sparring, you don't gotta say shit, you just hit them. They're like, oh shit, I got hit. Like, this is the perfect art for teaching without saying shit. And that's what I like about it. I don't like to talk too much, just like, you know, let's just do it. You see me squatting, let's squat. You see me stretching, let's stretch. You see me lifting weights, let's lift weights. Whereas in other classes, like aerobic classes, like 1, 2, 3, 4, it's like, no, I'm not here for that. You know, it's like, you gotta learn through watching. Even if you watch Bruce Lee's movies, he's not alive physically, but if you watch his movies, you can learn so much just from watching. You don't gotta say nothing. You can turn the volume off. You don't need the volume. You'll learn a lot from just watching him. You know, like if you turn it back on, all you hear is you don't say nothing. So you don't even need to listen to anything. So you could go to China and watch the Shaolin monks. You don't even know what they're saying, but you see what they're doing. You're like, holy shit, you know, like you see them in meditation, you see them in their training. The martial arts breaks down the barriers of verbal language and gets you to be in tune with the physical. So when you guys are communicating with animals like cats and dogs and birds or whatever, tigers or whatever, you are communicating with them through non-verbal. So you gotta learn that art of like learning from people without saying anything. Like reading people, even if you're in a relationship, a woman might be like, don't say nothing, but you gotta read her and you gotta know what she's thinking without her even having to say anything, you know. And then you could resolve situations without talking, you know. And then you apply that to your everyday life, at work and everything. Sometimes people say things that they don't mean, or they, you know, or they don't say something when they should say something, and you gotta read them. And martial arts will teach you to be more attentive to these little details. And it will enhance your everyday communication.
I've been finding myself in situations sometimes where I'm not verbally saying something. I don't mean to. And someone else hears it. You know what I mean? Someone else is listening or watching me or whatever. They know exactly what I'm thinking. And I'm not even trying to let it be known. I'm trying to just, you know, keep it to myself. But sometimes your vibe, your energy speaks louder than what you would rather be known.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, I think like to be able to listen spiritually, you have to be able to take yourself out of your own spirit in a way, or maybe that's not what I mean, but it's so hard, it's hard to not experience the world through our own eyes only, no matter what, you know what I mean? No matter how we see things going down, we're still seeing it through our own eyes.
Yeah.
And I think to see spiritually, like you really have to like take yourself out of the equation to really see what's going on with around you, to see someone else spiritually. Because otherwise, you're just gonna see it through your own almost, you know.
Yeah.
Like just by default, that's how we live. And that, man, those Shaolin monks, man, there's like you can like, there's like different temples in China, I guess, you can go hang out with them, and you can live with them. For like live, eat, train, like for like however long you want. There's no like, you can't like call up and make a reservation online or anything like that. It's, you need to find this place, show up on like you need to take that cab to the mountain and then walk into the mountain from there, you know, like.
But they got Wi-Fi.
Yeah, no Wi-Fi. They got nothing.
Yeah, Uber.
I think it's like a small donation, you just gotta leave. And you can like hang, you could just be living with them.
You go there, they're playing Call of Duty.
50 cents a cigarette.
I started watching Netflix.
Bumping Tupac and shit.
That's pretty cool. You say you go up there, make a donation, and it's pretty much that open, huh?
Yeah, that's why I was really impressed by the situation itself.
Too bad. Or have you just been researching?
Just researching. Man, when I was in Hong Kong for a month, and I just was trying to figure out how to get out of Hong Kong and go do other shit. Everything required a visa and more time than I had, but yeah, like it, you know, I think like $50 would buy you like, I don't know, a couple of weeks or something.
Right.
And, you know, I think when I read on one of the temples, you know, you wake up every morning, basically run down to some stream, pick up a rock, run back with it, help build a wall, spend all day training with them, and then like after dinner, it's all over. You can chill after dinner. But
That's what you read about?
yeah, it's like two training sessions, like one before lunch and one after.
Yeah, that's how they lure you in.
Free work.
Free
Oh yeah, they put you to work. Yeah, we need this wall built right here.
You gonna pay
Since you're here,
Chain you up in there.
you're paying to work.
the donation going towards the Wi-Fi, you doing construction for nothing.
I think it's just a way for some people to seek for discipline, because when I think about it, it's like going to boot camp or even go to jail or just somewhere where there's something, or you go to the army, or you're just getting something forced upon you to try to give you that discipline. But if you have that self-discipline, okay, they're waking up, running down and picking up a rock. Well, you could do that shit yourself. You wake up at 4 in the morning right now and start running down the lake and throw rocks in the river and come back. You know, go throw rocks in the... It's like that discipline. Like, they might have made you eat just bread and water.
Right.
And then, but you could do that yourself. You go clean out your fridge, just put bread in there, put water. You know what I'm saying? Like, they might have the discipline to not watch TV, and then you get rid of your TV. They might have the discipline not to have a car, then you get rid of your car. You can discipline yourself here, but I think people seek something like that. It's like they're trying to put that responsibility on someone else or some organization to impose this discipline. So like the monks might be known to not have sex. Well, you could decide not to have sex either. The monks decide, well, we ain't watching porn. Well, you could decide not to watch either. Like, you can impose your own discipline. And sometimes I think about it, I'm like, damn, you know, if you're a monk and you go to jail, would you even be fazed?
Right.
You know, because the monk is bald, and then in jail they're like, oh, you gotta go bald. The monks wear an orange outfit, okay, in jail, they give you an orange outfit. You know, yeah, the jail they put you in the cell with a bed for 8 hours, the monk meditating for 8 hours anyway, so he's just sitting there for 8 hours, right? And then in jail they give you garbage food when a monk eats garbage food. The jail, they take away all your luxuries, and then in the monk lifestyle, you don't have no luxuries. In jail, they say you can't be with women. The monk purposely don't want to be with women. So I'm thinking like, man, you a monk. It's like purposely, like being a monk is like
Right.
purposely putting yourself in jail when you don't even have to be in jail. So,
I made that comparison in my head too before. I thought that's kind of weird, like
what?
that it's like it's associated with all this like peace and meditation, but it's so the lifestyle itself is so parallel to.
You isolate yourself from everybody else.
But Osho doesn't believe in that. I don't believe in that either. Because that's basically like running away into the mountains and claiming spirituality. That's not the way.
Oh.
Like I admire maybe some of their development, but I don't see that that's the true way. You know. But it's what I think it is. Honestly, I think China has such a huge population. They got over 1 billion people, that they have to kind of trick the people into putting themselves in jail so that it's easier to manage them. No, like seriously, because here in America they just throw minorities into jail for committing crime, right? Over there they use spiritual practices to make them feel like they're special by restricting their lives like they're in jail.
Different systems because of the same reason to go.
Because if the monks are all like us and they're all having sex with all these different people, and then the kids are even more kids.
Right.
So like, let's have all these monks be celibate, eat minimum food, shave their heads, and just be in jail without
using the resources.
Yeah, without us having to put them in jail. They willingly want to be in jail.
So it's like kind of like celebrating prisoners here. Like, oh, they're at a high level, they're prisoners. We respect them. We don't even have to build a wall. They're gonna build it themselves.
Yeah. Giving them respect that they want, so then they will do it for that, and then they'll purposefully live a restricted life, and then you don't need to. Because over here in this jail, you gotta pay for the food, you gotta do all this shit. Over there, you know, to be a monk, so you're pretty much putting yourself in jail. And if you're the type of person that you need an outsider to discipline you, then that experience could change you. Like if you go to jail for 3 months or a year or 3 years, you might come out transformed. Because you live such a wild lifestyle, you just kept drinking and being promiscuous and just doing all this crazy stuff. But then when you get forced into a restricted lifestyle, that could change you towards the better. And that's what I think sometimes people seek towards this type of training, is because they want to somehow put discipline in their lives. It's not too different than the people that want to join the army. So I think the people that are in the army is similar to being like a monk. Similar, but not the same, because it's not spiritual. But the
That army
discipline
shit
practice.
takes that spirit out of you.
Say again?
I feel like that army shit just takes that spirit
Yeah,
out.
they take
It's
it
like
out.
it's almost like that's the.
They dehumanize you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No fees for.
No offense to anyone who's got army experience or any
Right.
close people, but I just think that shit's crazy sometimes, to be honest.
Yeah.
When I find out like some of the friends or people I grew up with that went into the army, I was like, what? You went in it? And I feel like it's just like one of those like last resort, like, I don't know what to do, everybody else seems to know what they're doing, I'm just gonna sign up and go to the army.
Everybody's life experience is different, and sometimes they're forced into it. It's either jail or the military.
Well, the military. Well, I guess I would choose military then too.
Because I know why in America they don't like Buddhism, because Buddha's teachings is pretty much encouraging people to stop working and just pretty much beg for money. And America doesn't want lazy people, because there'll be a bunch of people on welfare or whatever. So they're like, you know, F Buddhism, we're gonna promote more of this Christian Catholic way, where it kind of encourages you to be very ambitious and have a lot of desires. So you constantly don't think that you have enough. So you constantly want to keep working to get more, and that stimulates the economy. So, but Buddhism is more teaching you like, man, let me get out this rat race. And then sometimes you end up becoming very lazy. You don't want to do shit. You don't want to work. You just, walk around.
You want big.
They don't want that. America doesn't want a bunch of beggars. So that's why Buddhism isn't popular here. But it's a different way of controlling people, I think.
Like Thailand's got monks that walk around like with begging bowls and stuff.
Yeah.
But do all monks do that? Is that like their main function like in other countries too? Like
Well,
Make
Buddha,
functional
Buddha, they're just mimicking. They're just mimicking what Buddha did. So that's
Word.
that's the path that Buddha took, and all these monks are just trying. They're just trying to imitate him. But you know, somebody like Bruce Lee, for example, I consider him like a Buddha, like a modern Buddha. So he's got hair, he's ripped, he's strong, and he's in Hollywood. He's working hard. He's got a little bit of flavor to him. To me, he's a modern Buddha. But the original Buddha, who inspired Buddhism, that's what all the monks are trying to just imitate him. So instead of imitating Bruce Lee, they're imitating the original Buddha. The original Buddha just basically was out there just begging and then teaching.
Cool for 1,000 years ago.
Yes, but it'd make more sense for people not to imitate him, but to imitate somebody like Bruce Lee and be more like a modern day Buddha. Even Jet Li to me is a modern day Buddha because Jet Li claims Buddhism too. Jet Li and even Jackie Chan. Jackie Chan's like a modern day Buddha. He's like one of the richest actors out there now. So Jet Li, Jackie Chan, Bruce Lee, these are all Buddhas. They're just expressing themselves in a different way. Now, and then you got that Buddhist in the mountain who claims himself to be a monk that has no name, that just have an orange robe on, and all of a sudden you give him respect for what? You don't even know who this person is. Just because he's got a shaved head, he's got an orange robe on, all of a sudden he's got respect. Like it takes a lot more than that for me to respect somebody, as far as somebody worth following. So the modern Buddhists, I respect them more because they're showing hard work and dedication. But just because you shave your head, you put an orange robe on, you don't got my respect, you know. And that's what I think a lot of these monks, they hide behind that. And the Shaolin monks, they just pick the best of the best out of the thousands of monks that they have. They pick the best out of the best to highlight, oh, these are the Shaolin monks. But that's probably like less than 1% of the population of monks can do all that shit that they do. They just become the people that draw people into the temple. But they're not all monks are like that. That's just a special all-star team or something. You know what I'm saying?
All-star monks.
I mean, they're making a lot of money, man. They're going around different parts of America, making performances, making money. Then they're getting people to tour to China to pay to go into the temple. It's become a business, just like a college or university here. That's what it's become. It's not
Commercialized.
Yeah, it's commercial. You know, so it's sometimes it just, to me, it's really silly when people are like, oh, you know, I'm gonna go to the Shaolin temple and I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna be a master. No, it won't happen like that. You know what I'm saying? Or they look at me, well, I've been in China for 2 months and I'm a master. I'm like, no, you ain't shit. You know, like, it don't happen like that.
Like, no, you Carl. You was Carl
Okay,
when you left. Carl when you came back.
Well, you know, I went to China. I went to China for a month. Well, I've been to Chinatown, so what's up? Like, what's up now? I mean, like, it don't mean shit, you know? Like, what it mean? You know, it's like me walking across Northwestern University and be like, oh, I graduated from Northwestern just because I walked on campus. No, like, you gotta stay on there for like at least 4 years, prove that you got the degree. But people that visit the temple, what do they come back with? They don't come back with nothing, you know? It's just bragging about, oh, I've been there. Well, I don't care where you've been. You still get your ass whooped when it comes to the martial arts, right? I mean, it don't mean, it's not even about that, you know? That's that's the thing that annoys me about the whole thing, where people think that that's like you go there, all of a sudden, like, it's like you gain enlightenment immediately, or you're like master. No, it doesn't happen like that. Like, basically, Bruce Lee was the rebel against Buddhism, in a way. Like, Bruce Lee could have been a monk. He could have shaved his head, wore that robe too. He's like, no, fuck that. I'm gonna have hair.
He wore orange tracksuit.
Yeah. I'm gonna have my own uniform. I'm gonna take off my shirt. I'm gonna get married. I'm gonna have kids. I'm gonna. You know what I'm saying? He's like the Buddhist rebel. You know, like, no, this ain't the way. And I agree with Bruce more than the other monks.
I have a question, and I don't know if anybody knows. What's up with them in the color orange?
There's some, I think something spiritual about that color.
I mean, I like the color orange, but it's like, why can't it be like you know, like a rainbow? Navy
Well,
blue.
don't some of them wear like red?
I know, but I mean
Some
the common
places.
one that you see.
Right. Right.
I mean, I give respect where it's deserved, you know, like there's some videos out there, some monks that can do some crazy shit, like there's this monk who did a handstand push-up, like 2 fingers like this.
Yeah.
I think he's like the only one in the whole world that could do that. I was like, that's amazing. But don't think that everybody that's a monk can do that shit. You know what I'm saying? That's like looking at Michael Jordan and be like, oh, you know, you in the NBA, oh, okay, everybody plays just like Michael Jordan. No, like, Michael Jordan is who he is because he's the greatest. So the monk was like, I respect that. But it's just, I judge each monk individually. I don't just be like, oh, you know, he's a monk now, and he's the best, you know. But it goes back to the teachings of what Osho's mentioned about, and also the Tao, where you don't run away from life, you actually engage in life. So Bruce Lee's an example of who engaged in life, and then a monk is an example of who renounces life. So I agree with the way of engaging in life with spirituality and meditation, and growing in your practice while you're engaged. So not running away from life, to be a celibate and just, or you know, and then they frown upon you because you got regular clothes on or some shit like that. Or you're not a spiritual person because you got regular clothes on. It's like, what? You know, you're not spiritual because you got a cell phone. You know, you're not spiritual because you got a car. No, it's like, you can be spiritual within everyday life. It's just harder for people to identify that you're a spiritual being. But when you shave your head and you wear an orange robe, then people try to be like, oh, you know, that's a spiritual person. Well, they're trying to set themselves apart by saying, oh, we're different than you guys because we're this, you know, we live this way. But you can find your own way of life that works for you and live that in a spiritual way, and it doesn't make it any worse than what they're doing. You know, and not necessarily better either. I just don't think that, you know, it's right for, you know, somebody, you know, an organization to group, you know, to say that this is the way that everybody has to go. Otherwise, it's not the right way. I think everybody's just a little bit different, you know. So.
I mean, we are living beings too. We're spiritual beings, but we're also living beings.
Yeah.
Engaging in life makes sense to me. We're living beings. Part of us is living. Why would we engage with that part?
So essentially what I'm saying also is, when we train in here, this could be like our Shaolin Temple experience. To get the training necessary so you can engage back in the world. You know, so when you come here, we train for 2 hours straight, that's discipline right there. And you do that constantly, that's discipline. You're disciplining yourself. And then you're engaging back into society. You know, so. But if you live in a prison cell and then you wake up at 5 in the morning to work out for 2 hours and you go back in the prison cell all day, what use is that? Like, you're in the prison cell, you come out to work out, you go back into prison. But here, you're out in the world, you come in here to work out, and then you go back out into the world to benefit the people. You know, so it doesn't make sense to lock yourself in a prison when you have positive energy within you to share to people. It just doesn't make sense to do that. You know?
Seems like it's more, I mean, to me, you're really disciplined if you can be disciplined in the midst of distraction.
I was
You're
thinking
up
the
on,
same thing.
you're up on a mountain or even in prison, and you don't, I don't know how much of this discipline or just ain't that shit else to do. You know? But here you have to make a conscious effort to do it. I don't know, to me, I find more value in it that way. Not that it's not, it's cool to chill up in a mountain every now and then.